This is Brownie's Podcast.
We're back. What's the date? Prove that we're back. What's the date?
31st of January, 2023. Brownie's Podcast is back with the same old shit cast members. Campbell Brown, Brody Pomeroy,
Stop staring at me, Campbell.
Pomeroy, and the great Dean Thomas.
Come on.
Childish Dino fame.
Hey, going all right. You
Yeah,
guys.
you still talking to
you
us?
guys for 2 months, literally, since our last, since Nobu, our Christmas party. Then you went whoosh. And
Yeah.
Yeah, in fairness, I've been off the
You've
radar.
been shit house on the phone.
I've been bad. I've been in a beach in Queensland for 7 weeks, got back on the weekend, and I feel bad actually because when I went back through my phone and saw the missed calls from Campbell Brown and the missed text messages from Campbell Brown, I thought,
Well, that's interesting.
This poor bastard would be in a clinic thinking his friend has dropped him.
I called you once and you picked up.
Yeah.
So, how's that feel, brother?
I needed to give JB some space.
Did we speak Christmas Day though?
Yeah, we spoke Christmas
There we
Day.
go.
Yeah.
He rang me with a beer with the lovely Jess, Boston, and what's the other kid's name?
Baker. Yeah.
Oh, what's the other one?
He's only 2 now.
Hey, podcast crew that are on our WhatsApp thread, you should see Jonathan's hair. It's the longest I've ever seen it, and it's not going to last. Whenever it gets this long dog, the shearers are very close.
He's cleanly shaven too. I feel like it's a new JB in
Summer John.
2023.
Summer John.
Yeah.
You good, man? Yeah,
I'm great. Yeah, had a really good off season. Thoroughly enjoyed some downtime. Ducked overseas, as we'll
Vegas.
touch on very, very shortly. 'Cause
Vegas, you dirty dog.
There's a lot of things that you can't bring back from Vegas, but there's a few stories that I can.
Some things you can because they're in your blood. Hey, boys, how did you go?
Oh, Jesus, good to see you, boys. And
too.
I'm actually, and I never thought I'd say this, I'm actually happy to see Campbell. Like, usually I hate him, like 95% of the time, but God, I'm happy to see him. I've
Good
missed
to be
you.
back. Yeah.
You look weary. You haven't had a holiday. What's wrong with you?
Well, I actually took up cricket in the off-season. I thought, and this is why, I'm 31 now. I thought, you know what? I was never a good cricketer when I was young, between 15 and say 18. So
Sport's
I thought,
not for you, man.
nah, I'm starting to realise that
Any
isn't the
sport.
case. So I've taken.
Show how your arms, man, because when we left, those pythons are out of control. Jesus Christ!
They are still good. They are still strong. That's fair. But
I could fit 2 of my arms into one of your arms.
Oh.
They're big meat.
Brownie said
Lumps
that.
of
That
meat.
comes from Brown.
I know, it's quite impressive.
I hope your friends listen to this shit.
They don't. No, they don't. But I took up cricket, and I've finally realised that this will be my final season of cricket. So I thought I'd come back, in my 30s. And I'm like, you know what? I'm probably going to bowl pretty well. And I was always a bit of a batter. I was like, you know what? I reckon I'm going to start seeing him better and be able to muscle him over the boundary. And I thought I was going to be almost Aaron Finch-like.
First bowl?
It's been a bit of a difficult start. So it turns out that I'm averaging half a run per game.
That's nice, man.
Well, that's pretty good if you're a bowler.
That's nice.
No. It's been as a batting. I've been a batting player and then a bit time of a bowler, but I'm averaging half a run, 0.5, which is just phenomenal for
What's
us.
your highest score?
7.
Oh, brother. Oh, Jesus.
Bowling, wickets.
3 for 8, best figures. That's not bad.
It's not bad.
But they were going after me, and they'd already made about 190, so they were just willing to try and
Do
pull
you
me.
play that cricket where there's a bell in the ball so the batsman know where the ball is in the space?
How are you, Dean?
Man, really good. I did not get laid over summer.
Oh, really?
But I had
At all?
No,
Not once.
That you know of.
I didn't come close, but I had a good time. It's still a good summer.
Are there such things as childish Dino groupies? Did
Well,
anyone come up
that's
to
a
you
good
and
point.
say, hey,
people
I
on the
saw those
internet have been
cartoons?
quite avid with their inquiries.
Would have been in real life, though, because the internet doesn't
For
count.
real. For
Yeah.
real. That was very surprising.
What's the most? Did you get any prospective sort of offers?
For the cartoon?
Well, not for the
sex.
cartoon, but from
sex.
from Childish Dino.
Definitely for sex.
Yeah.
Did you get any persuasive offers that you thought, maybe as a younger man I could have fallen into that?
Yeah, maybe as a younger man, but now you just look like a creep trying to lure people with an 18-year-old boy cartoon. What's happening here? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Because when Brown Dog asked for groupies,
Oh, yeah,
because they throw out different stuff, and I would have thought the success of Childish Dino there'd
No.
be a huge amount of groupies.
It's clean and wholesome.
Out of all the guys sitting around this table, who offered to invest in the next series?
My man! You son of a bitch.
I did.
Campbell.
Yeah.
And I will be taking your money, so thank you.
Brownie,
There'll be no
you
second
have-
series, but you'll take my money.
You have all the money in the world. I'm talking tens of millions.
Tens of
And
millions.
you weren't able to offer 50 grand, 20 grand, even 100 bucks.
Hey, by the way, I wasn't asking. My friend here just offered. He's a beautiful man.
How much,
Campbell.
how much did he offer?
It doesn't matter.
How much did he offer?
No, we didn't speak figures, but the backing was there.
It was there.
Losing tips.
Before we'd say what we learnt over summer. Any footy news? Anything at all?
Well, yeah, because I remember on this podcast maybe 3 months ago, Craig Kelly, JB suggested, or basically said, this is a fact, that he's going to go on and be the CEO of Collingwood, and they announced it yesterday, mate.
That was big news. Our manager, our former manager now, he couldn't be our manager. That'd be a big conflict of interest.
Wait,
they are retired, so technically he could still manage us, couldn't he?
So not president, CEO. So he won't be doing it, Eddie, and being on every press conference.
No.
He's like the back.
He's running
That's
the
right.
books.
He's running the program.
Gotcha.
He's been a very successful businessman. In this country, really, but especially in Melbourne.
26
for 26 years.
yeah.
It's been amazing. Just build up TLA to what it is today. So amazing effort. And you know what? You said the chairman or president.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised if in 3 or 4 years' time he becomes the big dog.
Oh, really? What, the CEO?
Well, you need a man with presence. You know, they've had that with Eddie Maguire, especially the biggest club in the country. Had it with Eddie Maguire.
Yeah.
They now have it with Jeff Brown, who obviously used to run Channel 9, amongst other things, virtually set up the rules for the AFL. So the next one after Browny, you need a man with a similar presence and similar power and wherewithal to get the job done and to keep that club where it wants to remain, and that's at the top of the tree in sporting clubs in Australia. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's a progression.
I got to say, Broads, when Ned walks into a room, your ass tightens up because he's scary.
It's a very big presence. And from a man that's probably, 50s? He would beat collectively the shit out of all of us.
Yeah. Is he a teddy bear or is he a psychopath?
He's got big dick energy, doesn't he? Just struts into a room. Tell you what I did go. I went up to the Lions training, and the reason I say this is because their new training facility is unbelievable. Just outside of Brisbane, west of Brisbane, $80 million spent there for the Lions men's and women.
Yeah.
They've got commercial setups there. They've got restaurants. They've got cafes. They've got an indoor kicking room that's about 80 metres long. The gym goes all the way beside it. So it was just unbelievable to see. But the reason I mentioned this is because then I stayed on to watch training and I looked at the talent on show there. Dunkley.
Shit.
Connor McKenna, they've flown him back in from Ireland.
Wait, let me guess, Campbell. They're having the best pre-season ever.
They are. Will Ashcroft looks like a 100-game player, and the man, who I think it'll bring it all together, and will be like the captain coach of the forward line, Jack Gunston. Your old teammate. So, mate, I reckon the Lions, I'm not normally like this. I'm normally probably a bit critical on the Lions, my team.
If we're predicting 2 months before the season starts,
Nice.
I'm going to walk into traffic.
I think they're a team to beat.
I agree.
I'm going to go.
Cool, man. I'll write that down. I'll file it in a bid. Sorry for swearing.
Before we move on, can you just roll back into the Brisbane Lions training ground anytime you like? You can just rock up on the front door and say, I'm here, no worries, I'm just going to walk around and just give the boys a bit of pat on the bum and say, lift a bit harder.
Well, I must be able to because I looked out. I lost where Liv was. I took Liv and my father Brian.
He lost his child.
We took Liv in to see Dad's old locker, the number 2 locker, and my locker, the number 16 locker. And then I look out at training half an hour later, going, "Where the hell's Liv gone?" I look at a little figure out in the middle of training. This is a main training session. Chris Fagan standing beside her. Olivia Brown. Now, you can't tell me. Now, clearly, my daughter, mad Carlton supporter. Now, there's not a bit of sort of, there's a bit of loose softening up there.
Yes,
They're trying to
John.
win Olivia Brown back, aren't they, into the Lions
Absolutely.
I was going to use the word looping up, but then it felt wrong.
Yeah, it does. And you
felt
didn't
wrong.
need to
She's
say it.
13 years old,
did
mate.
feel wrong.
There's an unwritten law that if your name is on a locker, you can waltz back into the facility
With no
anytime you
pants.
want.
Can you walk back into the Gold Coast at any time? No
My name's
worries.
not on a locker. Nah,
It's on the media room. It's on the media room.
It's on the tribunal room.
Well,
It's
then
all
I
right.
can, yes, then
Hey,
you can.
Hey, is that an unfair prediction, though, to say the
No,
Lions?
I
I
think
think they're the team to
well, they
beat.
made the preliminary final last year. I know they got well beaten, but those 4 names that you mentioned, they'll walk into their round 1 side. They're automatically a better side this year than they were finishing last year. I know McStay's left, but I definitely think that Richmond and Brisbane were the 2 teams that, and Collingwood did really well in the off-season. Really well with who they went out and got and traded for.
Eagles will make the top 4. Who gives a shit?
Bullshit.
Hey, Pangy and I were having a coffee at the Carlton Cafe at Princess Park.
Yeah,
And then-
Brisbane's got one of those.
And then a nice old boy...
Shut up about the Brisbane facilities,
Mate.
mate. No one gives a shit.
And then a nice old boy saw Pangy and said, "Hey boys, come for a tour." They've got like a full-size indoor oval there.
Yeah, well, the Lions got one of those.
Yeah,
Actually, the Lions one is bigger than the
Oh,
Carlton. I've seen
mate.
the Carlton one.
All right, brother.
So that's all to do with ladder position. Who's
Yeah,
got a
sure,
better
sure.
cafe and better kicking room? Don't you reckon, Dog? You're going to finish higher on the ladder.
You've
Kicking room's important.
You've got NDE, noodle dick energy.
Have you also noticed since Browny's come back that he loves to punch the desk? He just keeps punching
No,
the
he's
desk.
always been a thumper.
Just stop thumping the desk.
I'm a
The desk
thumper,
hasn't
mate.
done anything to wrong you.
You
Just
should
leave
see
the
me
desk
after
alone.
dark. I'm a thumper, mate.
We've come back excited, everyone. Now, this music means we're going to talk about stuff that we've learnt over summer, and I'd like to go first. Over summer, I learnt that the doomsday clock is closer than ever to midnight. Now, what the does that mean? I don't know, but it sure sounds scary.
Really?
Yeah.
In your personal life?
No,
Business?
as a humanity, we're closest to extinction as we've ever been.
That's uplifting.
That couldn't be more.
Flattening? God
Pretty
almighty.
cool, huh?
You learnt that.
Yeah, man.
And I'm spending my last few moments with you three. Excellent.
Fair point, Dino. Well, obviously the avocados think that. What I've realised is that avocados don't grow well in summer.
What?
Planted them 6 months ago, came back from our summer holidays.
Yeah.
They're dead.
Ah!
Gone. I thought I was coming back to smashed avocado.
Life sucks.
All off all footy season. Gone.
I hate life.
They are skinnier than my arms at the moment.
I learnt that dress-up parties are bad. Dominic Perrottet found that out. We already know that Prince Harry found that out.
Yeah.
If they dive back into the history of me and dress-up parties,
Oh, God.
they'll find me dressed up as a Catholic priest.
Oh, God.
That's about as bad as it gets.
Oh, shit.
Have you guys got
They'll
any...
find you with boot polish on your face.
Have you got any skeletons in your costume cupboard from
No.
21st or 18th?
Oh, nah. You Broads, you must.
I have heard of a costume, not that I wore, not that any of my friends wore,
Yeah.
but a little bit politically incorrect, and one came as Ben Robert Smith. And,
Oh, he's a war hero. He's a
And-
VC.
and a person that Ben may have been involved with whilst overseas.
Oh, mate, no,
It was-
that's not a bad one.
That's not a bad one, is
Long
it?
live Ben Robert Smith.
I've learnt that I am a poor sportsman. I have never acknowledged it before, but I failed at football, I failed at bowling, and now I've failed at cricket, and that's...
Oh, brother.
I think it's me done.
Another thing I learnt that the whole nation looks at Big Bash like this. Would you agree? Fair enough. It's live.
Big
We'll watch
Bash
it.
is back.
Look, I know, but I found out that in Perth, they like full love it. They think it's like a proper thing.
Scorchers are always good.
Let's be honest, over here or in Melbourne, it doesn't really feel like a proper thing. Am I wrong?
I've got an interesting one for you, Dino, on the 2020, because they've sort of won me back, the 2020. I've enjoyed watching the TV. I've loved watching the Scorchers, especially at home at Optus Stadium. But one thing I need to learn, what the are some blokes doing wearing yellow hats in the field?
I don't know. Are they really?
Rhodes, what is that? There's one odd bloke with a yellow hat on from time to time.
Have you seen the shield that the umpires are wearing at the moment?
Yeah, what's that?
They've got a Roman shield
What, to block them from
to block the
incoming...
ball.
Oh, hang on a minute. Just jump out of the way, big
It's
fella.
Ock Health and Safety gone mad.
I've got another one.
Yes.
One thing I did learn, boat propellers are dangerous even when they are not spinning or working.
Please give us more.
elaborate.
I bought Jack a tinny up in Queensland,
Yes.
$200 on Gumtree, bargain. Then a mate threw him an outdoor motor, 2.5 horsepower.
Hey, one that you steer from the back.
Absolutely. So I had to cart it down to the creek every day because I didn't want to get knocked off this 2.5 horsepower, 2.5 horsepower Audi.
Yeah.
And then when I was wheeling it down one day,
Yeah.
I had a couple of beers, it bounced out of the trolley, and the propeller flung around and sliced me in the leg.
Give us a look.
Got stitches.
Do ya?
You got proper stitches.
4 weeks
There you
ago
go.
this
Yeah.
happened.
Oh man, that's
wow.
proper.
There's still steri strips on there. I had to turn up to the Palm Beach clinic the next morning, and yeah, it's fair to say I was probably the only straight man there.
True.
As in straight man that wasn't medicated.
True or false?
Didn't know where you were going there, but that's good.
True or false? I've got you pictured in my head driving down them canals in the Gold Coast, you know, where nice houses are?
Yes.
I've got you just sinking cans, the sun's going down,
Yeah.
and Bam Bam in control of
He
the
was in
tinny.
control, absolutely. You know that kid didn't have to have a boat license, providing the horsepower was low enough.
Perfect.
And when I'm sitting in the front, it definitely wasn't going quick enough. So there you go.
I learned that what we thought medical centres, you go there for, well, like JB, if you
I
get
went for
sliced
4
open,
stitches.
if you need help medically. I always thought that they were quite a welcoming and open place to go. They would never ban a patient from coming in, would they?
Mate, the bloke tried to tell me, I haven't got time to do your 4 stitches. You've got to go to hospital.
Well, have a
I'm
listen to this.
serious.
Have a listen to this, JB. I found out in the off-season that my old man Mel was banned from the Sorrento Medical Centre. He received a letter from a doctor saying, I am writing this letter to inform you that you will not be offered an appointment here at the Sorrento Medical Centre in future, and you are not permitted to enter the premise to access any services such as Melbourne pathology. This action has been taken following your recent unacceptable treatment of members of staff.
Oh, he's blown up.
Sure. Please make immediate arrangements to continue your medical care elsewhere.
Oh, this
and
is
upon
amazing.
request, we will transfer your medical files to them at no cost.
love
He
this.
now has to go to Blair Gowrie Medical
I
Centre.
love this.
Can you
I
believe your
love
ears?
this.
What must that man have done to
what's he
warrant
done?
a letter from the doctor?
He says he didn't do much wrong.
Of
They
course
kept
he did.
sending his scripts to the wrong pharmacy, so when he'd go there to collect them, they weren't there. And then when he'd ring them up and say, oh, you've sent them to the wrong place, he'd then go to the second place to collect them, and they would have cancelled them. So when he got to the new place, they no longer took them.
And he blew up.
And eventually he did his block and he went into there, stormed in and caught him a useless mob of bastards. And the ladies behind the desk took exception to it, told the head doctor, and Mel is banned.
That surprised me that Mel did his block. Does that surprise anyone here?
Yeah.
I just can't see that in Mel.
Absolutely.
Can we get him on at some stage just to run this letter by?
We can.
Well done, everyone.
Well done.
Anyone? You done, bros?
Oh, I've got one more.
Actually, no, let's go.
Okay,
Go again.
finish this off.
One more. I've realised that I should never attempt to surf ever again in my entire life.
Sure.
So we went down to Phillip Island in Victoria, and we were with some friends, and there was about, I don't know, say 10 girls and say 3 guys.
Yeah.
And that was great. And then one of the guys took his surfboard out, and he's absolutely shredded. And he's been catching waves for an hour and a half or whatnot, and I've just sat there on the beach just drinking beers.
Yeah.
And then he's like, and he's just come out of the water. He said, do you want to have a surf? And I felt that I'd be humiliated had I not taken the board and just given it a bit of an attempt, you know?
Sure.
So then, with all power and a belly full of beer, I've charged out into the ocean and then just proceeded to be beaten the shit out of for about 45 minutes. And as the rip was kind of dragging me out to the back, I realised that I was too tired to actually paddle in any further.
Sure.
So then this guy had to come out, swim out, and then grab the board by the nose halfway out the back of the ocean and pull me in physically because I couldn't actually paddle myself in.
For
And I had
God's
such
sakes,
bad
man.
chafe that my nipples had ripped. And he had to just pull me into shore. And it was the most humiliating moment of my life.
It's unsafe. To have a few drinks and then go out into a rip when you haven't surfed before.
Yeah.
What are you
Idiotic.
doing?
Yeah, I know. It was bad.
You know, there's been 50 drownings this
Yeah,
summer
it's been a
across
lot.
Australia.
No, well, I'm here to tell the tale.
Nothing.
One more
sporting.
thing. If you guys ever see me vaping again, I want you to slap me in the face.
Not if it's watermelon and strawberry flavour.
I'm out.
Yeah, no good.
I'm
It's
out.
No good.
I'm
You're
clean.
done.
I've been done for 2 weeks, but if we're out,
Yeah.
Can I borrow all the vapes you're going to throw out?
you can have them.
Creates anxiety the next day.
Mate,
Does
Yeah, absolutely.
they're the devil.
Yeah.
Really?
Stupid shit.
Get back on the Marlboros.
All right. Should we take a break, bros?
Let's go to ads and come back.
Hey, good to see you back, everyone. Back in a second. Welcome back to Brownie's podcast for the first time in 2023. Jesus, good to see you all. Now, dog, you met someone.
I was in queue, not far queue, North queue,
Fuck you.
and I'd just gone up there and bought a
The whole
couple of
off
things.
season, get rid of that line.
Anytime Q is mentioned in this podcast, you can hear dog's tail wagging.
I know.
I was walking out of just a grocery store, and there was a guy sitting at the front smoking a rollie.
Spliff.
He looked a little bit down on his luck, you
Yep.
know, and I was just walking out to my car,
Yeah.
and I hear a "Oi!"
Oh, shit.
And I kept walking. I assumed he was talking to me, but I didn't want to acknowledge such an aggressive tone. I hear this, "Oi, I'm talking to you!"
Yeah.
And he gets up. I can hear the pitter-patter of his feet behind
He's
me.
coming.
I'd been back in Australia for 12 hours for my overseas trip, and I thought to myself, oh my God, I'm being back. And here I am in the middle of queue on a weekday.
About to get
to
bashed.
get assaulted by a guy who's scary looking guy.
Yeah.
And I stop and I turn around and I go, mate, can I help you? He points at me and goes, you played footy, didn't you? I was like, yeah, I did a long time ago, mate. And he goes, Brown from Hawthorn. I said, yes.
Hey, honestly, did you feel good when he recognised exactly?
Not really.
who it
I
was?
just felt good that we weren't going to be in a knife fight. Right?
Because you have a knife.
I'm now safe.
Because you traditionally carry a
Well, I
knife.
would have taken his knife off him.
Sure.
And
Any other Browns played for Hawthorn?
nah.
That's it.
He then said, I've got a message I want you to pass on to Jeff Kennett. Right? This is
love this.
legit.
Wow.
This is legit. I said, no worries, mate. What is it? I know him. I can pass it on. He says, no, pull your phone out. You've got to record it.
Well,
Right? So, okay, where is this going to go? I pull the phone out, I hit record, and he bounces into this beautiful tone.
I'm a happy drunken peasant. I'm drunk and quite stoned too. I'll get into a session, sing louder and two blue, drink until the night is over. I'm pissed and off my head.
Really?
I'll get myself a bourbon, sucked down on dog drinks.
The middle of night, the stopped and looking because he was singing quite loudly. Did you notice he started with the Hawthorn theme song
Yeah.
and then bounced into the Collingwood
yes, he did.
theme song to finish
What
up?
was his end lyric? Down that
Into the dregs. He
into the
said,
dregs.
something
Yes.
to-
How about the gravel in his voice?
Anyway, it was magnificent.
Did you pass it on to Jeffrey?
I pass it on to Jeff, and he wrote back. He said, "Oh, he looks like a form." He said, "What happens to these former Hawthorn players?" So he, a big shout out to him. If he hears it or listens to Brownie's podcast, I want him on the show.
Now, I think
He was a
we
lovely
may have
man.
found, don't say his handle, because we don't necessarily want people to get in touch with him apart from us. Do you think you might have found him on
Well,
social
he's
media?
quite famous around. Apparently, I wasn't the first person that he'd sung a footy song to.
So, would you be comfortable to go back to him maybe before next week and get another musical performance of some kind?
if I can find him, that's going to be the difficulty.
Because I think a star has just been born. That's
Yeah, I loved it.
He had a brand new pair of Air Jordan shoes as well.
and he got out of a Suzuki Swift.
We might be related too, just going on the gravel in his voice.
Mate, absolutely.
So no, that was a highlight.
Okay, what's going on with Chief?
I went to the cricket. I went to the cricket in the off-season, the first test. First day of the first test against South Africa.
Yeah.
At the Jabba. 14 wickets on the day. I got a couple of tickets, just late notice. I rang my old mate Possum up, the great Timmy Notting.
Yes.
Number 8, former premiership player at the Lions,
Love that.
two-timer. And we roll in, and who's sitting beside us? None other than the chieftain, Jason
Jesus!
Piggy Dunstall.
Really? What, just by himself? Or?
No, with another mate. And
So was this in a flash box, or you just saw him?
well, we were sort of in a function area, and then we got to sit out the front. And because Chief was away from the crowd because he doesn't like people,
What does Summer Chief look
I
like?
thought it was he had a bit of growth.
Still bald, I
He
assume.
probably trained off slightly. A loose,
Unbuttoned shirt?
Hawaiian shirt. He definitely was about halfway down the chest. He had the chest hair out. He's got big legs, doesn't he?
Yeah, huge legs.
And
Mate, hey.
erect.
Does he get recognised up there in Queensland?
Yeah, he
or not
does,
so
but
much?
doesn't get terrorised. And it was just great to spend the day with him.
Mate,
And
that guy's a legend.
We're on the Great Northerns, a few beers up there, because everyone drinks mids up there, which
Right.
is a responsible
Yeah.
way to partake. We had a
Bros,
few
we can hear you
beers.
typing real loud.
And then at the end of the day, I could see Chief just warming up. So 14 wickets a day. At the end of the day, said, let's go to the Queensland Cricketers Club. Ran into none other than Jeffrey Thompson and
yes.
Mike Kasparich and some others. Well, that stage, Chief started to warm up.
Yes.
And I know the CEO of the Cricketers Club there, which is sort of like the MCC, and he just slipped me a $500 drink card on the
Oh,
way and just said, boys, just enjoy yourself.
Like, what's Chief drinking at this point? The Reds? The
Well,
whites?
he was on everything.
He likes the whites.
And he was starting to abuse people.
Yeah, that was going to come. That was going to be my next question. Who did he start
Including
fighting?
me when I said, Possum, we've got to go and meet the girls. And he overheard that. The Chief said, what? What? So I've had to hit. Well, to calm the big man down.
Yeah.
To
You had to-
calm him down.
you had to rub his belly.
He was frothing. I had to rub his belly. He was frothing at the ground. I had to rub his belly and then give him the $500 drink card to shut him up.
He would have terrorised Casper Witz and
Oh,
Jeff.
mate.
Anyone in his sights, in his
unbelievable.
crosshairs.
I was going to
so
look
they'd
up
take
the
it down.
obituaries the next morning. I thought Jeff Thompson might be dead because Tomo's a fair age now, but
Yeah.
still loves a beer. So Chieftain was in fine form.
That's amazing. Now, Dog, I saw on Instagram you posting from Las Vegas, and you're plugging a vodka brand. Was it vodka?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they sent me a bottle of vodka just to my room on my way through. So
Was
just
that
made
to
sure.
pay for your trip? Because you are the king of junkers. Don't tell me you were sent on that trip to Vegas.
Did you pay for
to
that
your
trip?
mate's wedding.
It was a good. Yeah, I paid for the trip.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
that's all right. I was
it
just
tax
clarifying
deduction.
whether the vodka company paid for it.
Now I have got a couple of business interests over in the United States,
Yeah.
so I went over for an annual general meeting.
Of course.
Of that, so
AGM.
An AGM. It happened to be on the same time that I was over there.
Do you have the minutes of that AGM?
got the minutes typed down. So it was a 4-day bucks into a 4-day wedding in Mexico.
Yes.
And
Where was the AGM in?
it was
Scores.
in
Joint.
LAX on the way through.
At Margaritaville.
We stayed at the World Resorts Casino, the new kid on the block,
yeah,
down the
that's
end of the
nice. Yeah,
strip,
that's
right?
very nice.
And 3 days before we got there, one of the members of the Bucks party sent through a screenshot, and I had to double take because the 4 days we were there, the AVN Awards were on at the exact same time.
Yes!
Now,
You know what they are?
What are the AVN
you
awards
explain
for
it
those
for
at
me?
home?
Dino,
I know what they are. They're the Adult Video Awards. They're
Yes.
the Porn Star Awards.
they're the Porn Star Awards for the whole of America. So literally every single porn star
Wow.
in the country had descended upon the World Resorts Casino and was staying there,
Yeah.
and that is where they had their awards. So
Is this more like SBS porn or more
No,
like
proper
the
porn.
High
proper
end.
stuff that
High
Dino
end.
engaged in?
proper.
Dog, who's the Patrick Cripps of humping? Tell us.
So on the Friday night, on the Friday night, right? A couple of guys they got some tickets and they went to the AVN Awards.
This is awesome.
Okay, and they're standing there and
A
there's,
couple of guys.
yeah, there's tables
Names?
with
Including
family
yourself.
and friends, right? They're there with their husbands,
Oh,
their
they're in the
partners,
family
their
section.
and friends, right? And the awards, and there were hundreds of awards, and they come up right on the screen.
Yeah.
Next nomination for best double penetration scene, and they go through the 3 or 4 scenes, right? And then they announce the winner, and the couples they hug, and the parents start clapping, and they walk up onto the screen to the stage to accept their awards
Yeah.
with stills on the big screen.
Yes!
Not with vision, right?
You're lying.
I swear to God. I swear to God.
This is fantastic.
Next award goes to best woman on woman scene, and they announce it. And
Wow, who picked that up, by the way?
Oh, I don't know their actual names,
sure.
but I've got vision here of it,
Okay.
and I thought that was really quite interesting.
Wow, man.
So the 4 days were good.
Did they introduce, like Dino thought, with the Sale of the Century thing?
Hey,
It was a
question.
nice addition.
Can you believe that? Like
Yeah.
that the parents are there, like a Brownlow night, right?
Yeah.
So you're there with your family and friends, and they're just so proud seeing their son or daughter or partner
man.
up on stage,
Well, they worked
getting
hard.
rewarded for
They
their
work
efforts.
rock hard. They work rock hard.
So that was good. Big shout out to JK, Justin Kenner, and his beautiful wife, Kenzie,
Yeah.
because that's the reason we went over there.
Yep.
Who are, of course, famously hosted you for the Super Bowl.
They did. They certainly
They
did.
hosted you for. Actually, no. Hang on a minute. I hosted you. They were
Yeah.
supposed to host you, so they hosted your suitcase. I actually hosted your body for 4
They
days.
did, and I met a heap of their mates that I'd met in LA. Remember when I threw that room party at the Mondrian in
Hinks's
in
room.
Hink's room and DJ Generics? There was a few people that I said, I haven't met you before, and they're like, no, you have. We came back to your room at the Mondrian, and then it clicked. I was like, oh my gosh. But we end up going, we go to Mexico City. We drive a couple of hours inland, and we get to the Fiesta Americana Hotel in Zacatepec. I think that's the way you say it.
So
Let's have another roll of that,
give us
shall
another
we?
one of that. That's nice.
Zacatepec,
It's completely different to the first.
which is about an hour away from Guadalajara, and the
Hour away from where, sorry?
Guadalajara, only 2 days before that,
Yeah.
they decided they were going to arrest El Chapo's son, right? So there were riotings and there was shootings and everything going on.
El Chapo Jr. Broads, they got him.
They got him.
Shit.
We go to the wedding. The wedding was absolutely sensational. In
What was
one
the
of the,
first town's name?
Yeah, just one more.
does that get the pick? There was a Mexican mariachi band.
Love
which is
that, brother.
After the reception,
Could you buy Xanax just over the counter?
there was a tattoo artist at the wedding, so a lot of the guests went up and they got tattoos of whatever they wanted.
The same gun? That doesn't sound healthy, man. Hepatitis.
Little tacos, little dates, whatever you want.
I brought one needle. Everyone line up.
There were rounds of shots of tequila in between entree and main, and then main and dessert. And some people had 6 or 7 shots before the
They got a
dinner.
tattoo. Did you get a tattoo of
I
Browny's
didn't. I
podcast?
tried to get one of Sweet Idea on my left arse cheek, the horse.
Yeah, great
but it was
horse.
a little bit too intricate. Now, there was...
Of course,
and
famously, you were arrested after she won the Magic Millions.
That's right. There was an electrocution device.
Fun.
That they would walk around and you would hold the device in your hand. You would hold hands with the
Yeah.
other person and they would turn it up
Yeah.
gradually until someone was basically on their knees having like a fit.
Horseplay.
And whoever lost had to have a shot of tequila. There was drinking games. There were fireworks.
Sounds unreal.
And big shout out to Jabber as well, Justin Hall from Zul's group. He is a massive...
The audience shouldn't be confused. That is a shameless plug.
No,
that
he's a big fan of Browny's podcast.
That he is giving to a sponsor. That's great.
One of
Personal sponsor.
one of the groomsmen, the Hornado, Tim Horn, he brought the wrong suit, so it was all white
He
for
should
all
have
the
been at the
grooms,
Vegas Adult Awards.
He should have.
and it was all white suits. He brought a tuxedo, so he wasn't allowed to participate in the actual ceremony. He had to sit out,
Yep.
which for you can imagine. It's a fairly big thing for one of your best mates.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So big shout there to the Hornado, completely f***ed it up.
Hornado.
Yeah, that's it, Jed. We had a great week.
You're telling us
Great
the
crew.
Vegas trip was paid for by a vodka company and the Mexican wedding trip was paid by the Jewish company.
Yes. Hey,
Is that right?
Hey, dog, when you sat...
Between any other
Feels good,
mentions.
feels good. No, that's it.
Well,
But I
hey.
just want to say well done to Kenzie and JK because it was one of the
nice.
greatest weddings of all time.
One more question about Vegas. When you sat down at the blackjack table, is it true that the dealer put their hand on yours and said, just please gamble responsibly?
Sale of the century.
Got him! We got him!
I've become unbelievably...
What is that, you son of a bitch? Is that... Are we allowed to talk about it?
Yes.
Yeah, we can talk about
Everyone
it.
went silent.
I believe there's a clip of what we're talking about.
What?
So Campbell is the face of what company?
Oh, Ladbrokes.
Ladbrokes, and he's filmed an ad which also features the great Mal Brown, and it is a phenomenal ad.
It might have been the reason why we blew up the deal with PointsBet.
Oh, are they not... Are we not in bed with PointsBet anymore?
I don't think so.
No,
He's
I blew
going
it
to have
up.
to change his name.
Who are we in
Again.
bed with?
I think...
We're not sure. We're going to deep.
we can't lock that in yet, but there is
Okay.
someone coming on board.
I blew it up. Okay, I blew it up.
Ah,
No.
But I've had a lot of pushback on the Campbell responsibly stuff. One, because I'm quite irresponsible.
I thought it was very creative.
The thing is, they
I thought
wrote
it cheapens warning people against addiction.
AFL legend Campbell Brown, right? A lot of people said, oh, turn it up, legend. I agree, I'm not. I definitely wasn't legend. But
Premiership player.
I've transitioned since I've retired,
Yes.
and I now identify as a legend.
As a thespian.
And so there's nothing anyone can say that can prove me wrong because I now identify as a legend.
And rightly so as well.
Yeah.
We've got a burgeoning media career.
Yeah.
Every town in Mexico and pronounce it beautifully.
Towns such as...
Zickapatica.
Now, hey, this is a minute 44, right?
It
Yeah.
gets better.
Enjoy.
G'day, I'm Campbell. Campbell responsibly. Responsible by name, responsible by nature. I take the responsibility of being responsible very seriously. Campbell responsibly. Being a passionate greenie, I'll always do the right thing when it comes to the environment. Oh, what do you think you're doing? You've got to separate your plastic from your glass. You're killing the fucking planet. I already did. Oh, you did too. You beauty. But my biggest responsibility is looking after my old man, Mal. G'day, Dad. You ready for some quality father-son time?
Why don't you get out of my life, get out of my property, and why don't you ring up and make a time like any other does that's got any manners?
But I did.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Canberra responsibly.
There it is.
Mate!
It's just had over 1 million views in a week.
Well done, mate.
The funny thing about that is the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know who couldn't remember his lines?
Mel.
Yeah, Mel. And they are his original lines. He couldn't. It took about 15 goes.
Okay.
For him
Let
to.
me-
and the guy from Lad Blokes had
Lad
to
Blokes.
say to
Lad
him-
Blokes doesn't even know the name of his own sponsor.
He loves lad blokes.
Lad Blokes.
had to say to Mel, can
Yeah.
you emphasise the word fuck a bit more, and can you say it a little bit
Yeah.
angrier?
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
kept mucking it up.
Right.
In fairness to Mel, not even the best scriptwriter in the world could have written that word-perfect statement that he said to Charnel Vella all those years ago
Well said, John.
in his garage in Hawthorne.
Well said.
Like, it was perfect.
It was
Hard to
poetry.
replicate even for the original, the OG.
But can I
Magnificent.
a compliment to that performance. Normally, if you try and take something from the past and recreate it,
Ah.
it sounds like dog shit. But this sounded legit funny.
No, it was a bit of humour, which was it was taken in the right way and the right manner, which was good, with a really important message as well.
How much did Mel get paid for that?
I gave him 20%.
20% of 1,000.
All right, hey, just before you spoke about your overseas trip, I want to go to the Kentucky Derby. I want to take the show to the Kentucky Derby. Why aren't we going to the Kentucky Derby?
Well, we can if we get a sponsor, but JB, it's
The
in
problem is
season.
it's in season, in footy season.
Yeah.
We've just had
I'll
2
tell you what I
months
love
off.
the WhatsApp group, which hopefully they're all going well and you've all still have your homes after Brown Dog shit tips over the off-season. Maybe some suggestions to help us out, you know.
Because I'm turning 40 this year, and I
man.
want to really celebrate.
We're going somewhere.
We've got to go somewhere.
Hey,
I
Brown,
think JB's contribution to the WhatsApp group has been tremendous.
Yes, off the hook.
When's the
I'd
last
say.
time you're right?
I'd really say.
I haven't checked my phone
hey!
in quite a while. And Campbell will vouch for me.
Hey, man.
I didn't get back to anyone in the off-season.
If we go to Kentucky, we need someone back here anyway, so you can hold the
I'll
fort.
push the buttons.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
This new studio.
Back in a second. Welcome back to Brownie's Podcast. We're all back for 2023. It wouldn't be Brownie's Podcast without...
What a world! And have we had a jam-packed What a World through the off-season? If you've been following me on Instagram, I've tried to keep it running. Big shout-out to everyone that sent me What a Worlds now. I don't need to look for them.
Oh, nice.
What's your handle on Instagram?
Brown Dog 30X, I think.
At Campbell responsibly.
So in Uganda, this was back 16th of December. Uganda, a 2-year-old boy was swallowed whole by a hippopotamus while he was swimming in a watering hole and spat back out alive.
Love that.
So he survived.
That's fun.
I put that one up.
Congratulations.
That was a great one. This one was on the 21st of December. Hospital evacuated after an 88-year-old man arrived into the emergency room with a World War I bomb lodged in his rectum.
Love that.
The doctors were shell-shocked.
Shell shock. Come on.
This was in France. It led to the hospital getting evacuated, and the 88-year-old came clean, saying that he was the man that inserted it into his rectum.
Yep.
What a good time.
What kind of a dark place do you have to be in life to stick a bomb up your rectum?
Also, at 88, maybe it's just one of those. You know what? He's
That's how
had
I'm
it on
going.
he's had it on his bucket list forever, and goes, you know what? Before I go, it's a rocket in the butt.
There was over in Mandurah, Western Australia, near where you come from.
Good crabs over there, brother.
An Uber Eats driver accidentally ended up driving onto the Greyhound track on a race night. Someone had ordered Uber Eats.
I've heard the dog
shit.
running the wrong way.
Yeah, Mandurah Greyhounds.
There's got to be footage of this. I
Yeah,
gotta look
we've
it
got
up.
footage. It's
Amazing.
up on What a World. A man spent $14,000 to become a dog, and he's worried his friends will think that he's weird. He got a dog suit, realistic canine suit that he dresses in every day, and he lays around and licks himself and everything like that. He's from Japan. His name is Toko. So there's been a hell of a lot of What a Worlds, but this one really took my cut.
All right, here we
and
go.
I want you to put yourself in to the mindset of the patients.
Come on.
It is Christmas Eve. A medical practitioner or a hospital in England sought to wish happy holidays and happy New Year's to the patients in the holiday season.
Nice.
However, instead of sending them that message, they accidentally, unintentionally issued them a message saying that they had aggressive lung cancer with metastasis and that they were less than 12 months to live.
Sail of the century.
So these people, for only, the medical centre
It's a
said
nice
it was
Christmas
only for
present.
a 3 or 4 hours until they realised they'd made the mistake, thought that they were going to die. And then they apologised and said, Happy Christmas, Happy New
Well,
Year.
there you go.
What a world.
They would have felt better after that.
Yeah, how good would that second phone call have been,
mate.
John?
Yeah.
Hey, you got a new lease on life. Hey, it's
Really
good to see
makes
you
you
all.
wonder
Good to
what
see
goes
you.
on.
Good to be back, boys. Glad we're all healthy.
Nah, well done.
Brownies Podcast.